Welcome to the Wellnest Mamas podcast. We are committed to leading a sustainable lifestyle and making community connections. In a world where stress and chaos seem to be the norm, finding balance and fostering a sense of true well-being is essential.
Whether you are just beginning your holistic wellness journey or are already deeply dedicated to the practice, this podcast is for you. Join the Wellnest Mamas as we uncover the secrets to holistic wellness and discover the power of building a healthy community that supports and uplifts one another.
Sit back, relax, and get ready to embark on a transformative journey to leading a sustainably healthy lifestyle. We're glad you're here. Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin with the Wellnest Mamas podcast. Today we have Steph and a very special guest, Miss Kimlyn Powers.
Hey. Hi Kimlyn.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. So, tell us, what do you do?
So I am, that's such a broad question.
It
Like when
really
you ask a mom that question, I still hesitate. Like it's not one thing. So I'm primarily a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, which means I focus on nutrition and lifestyle modifications to help women, clients, men as well, mostly women, reach their health goals. But functional is thrown in there because it's based on not just like what you're eating, but like, can you actually digest it? Like there's foundational principles that support where I want to take you with your health. And some of those foundations are like digestion. Like you're paying for all this expensive food and great oils and healthy fats, but like, can you break it down? How's your gallbladder function? So function meaning we evaluate kind of your physical level of functional need or lack thereof to help you utilize nutrition optimally.
Awesome.
So that's like how the foundation starts. And then from there I can build up with like certain functional testing options if clients prefer to utilize those, like stool testing, hormone testing, lab work, stuff like that, just to help dig in deeper. Some people just want to test and do all the things, and I'm like, okay, but we got to work at like, are you actually eating? Because it's not always good to have all the information. You got to have the foundations in place. So I work to have the foundations.
That's really cool.
And how did that get to be what you wanted?
I know, it's kind of a long story.
We love
Did you always want to go into functional nutrition?
No, didn't even know it was a thing.
Okay.
Didn't know it was a thing. I'm a nurse by trade.
Okay.
So I knew I wanted to be in the health space somewhere. So I was a nurse for almost 10 years. And during that time, I struggled with some infertility. And so that led me down a little bit of a rabbit hole. And rabbit holes can lead you in all different kinds of places. So it led me to what I was eating was probably not supporting my pregnancy goal. I'm a child of the 80s. So I was raised on margarine, skim milk. My mom, like, that's what she thought was best.
Yes.
No fault of her own. And so I was never really ate a lot of healthy fat, never really had, had a lot of carbs, but you thought they were healthy. So like fruit is a carb, but if you eat too much carb, that can impact your blood sugar, right? So like just not understanding like macronutrients and how they work in the body was part of my issue, but also just like what I was eating, I wasn't consuming enough healthy fat. And so on this journey of infertility that I experienced, I kind of found that, and just one thing led to another, and I found the Weston A. Price Foundation.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that was like I just jumped in. I think actually it was a chiropractor who introduced me to that. Yeah, that's what it was. Now I'm going back. This was 2007, and I did one of those like, join the chiropractor, come do a cleanse, like a yearly. They had a yearly cleanse.
It was a standard
project. Right. It was with Standard Process. The company, they have like this cleansing packet thing you can do. So anyway, I opted to do that. And she's the one who introduced me to Weston A. Price. And oddly enough, I just refound her. She came across my Instagram page, and she's in Springfield, Missouri, practicing. Oh, wow. And I met her when I lived in Illinois. Anyway, it was like this full circle moment for me a couple months ago, because here was this chiropractor who like set me on this path, and she doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
And I just want to be like, can I talk to you for a minute and tell you like how this one thing changed my whole life? So then Weston A. Price, they tout a lot of like farm to consumer local food. Okay, their goal is to connect consumers with local sustainable farmers who are raising healthy products. And so I found raw milk. And I was like, what is this thing? It's illegal? People drink this?
The raw milk black market.
Right, like, and then you're like,
it's legal.
Right, so then you get into the law and you're like, oh, I have to drive to the farm and I have to like.
And it has to have a label that saes not for
I
human consumption.
know. So I was just like getting into all these rules and I was like, well, this is crazy and weird and life-changing at the same time, because raw milk, I drank it. I'm not kidding you. I literally felt like powering up. It was like protein, fat, nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin D, all these. It was literally.
It's the full profile.
It was like the perfect thing. And I just was like the perfect food, and I was like, oh my God, I feel so good. And like my next monthly cycle I had, I was a completely different woman. I was completely different. I was like, my husband was like, who are you? Like, are you okay? Like, you're not crabby. You're not trying to throw a broom at me. Like, we're fine, right? Like, it's all, and so that kind of was like, okay, this is really cool. And then one thing led to another, and I still had work to do to get pregnant, but that was the beginning. And they have all these books you can read and information you can read. And so I was just diving into all the books, and I did get pregnant, and I realized I don't want to go back to nursing. Like, I don't want to go back to
the grind.
Well, and just taking time away from my baby and trying to beg for weekends or holidays off. Like, I was like, I don't want to do this. And so then the Nutritional Therapy Association is a company that certifies you to be a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. And their program aligns very much with Weston A. Price. Okay, so they teach the same food philosophy. They just add in other layers of function. And so I was like, well, I've read half these books. I know what they are standing for. I'm just going to go back and take this course. Well, I got pregnant right away again.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. Like, okay, stop. So then I kind of took time off to have my babies and raise them. And so then I think about 2013, we moved from North Carolina to Joplin. And I was like, that was as close as my husband could get to my family in Tulsa. And so I was like, okay, you can watch the babies and I can go take this course, because you had to travel to take it. Oh, okay. It was an online course, but there was like 3 or 4 times during the program you had to travel for like a long weekend out of state. And so I was making plans to do it. And so I did, my babies were, 3, 4, and 2. And I just had to go back to school and take this course. And it's a 9-month, 10-month certification course. And so it was super in-depth, super awesome. So that I graduated with that certification in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. So then you just take time to build your practice from there, because you have to learn all these business things.
Yes.
Apparently, you can't just like say I'm an NTP and people will come running to you.
We understand that.
So it takes time.
Building the community.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. Was basically my own struggle with a health issue, which is how most practitioners in the alternative space. It's usually a personal struggle that leads
absolutely.
them.
We have found that with all the podcasts that we've done. And children, whether they're here or not yet, are the catalyst for so much of that.
Right.
So much.
Right.
So.
And really helping you focus on what is really important.
Yeah.
Like that's valuable. It's very valuable.
Right, because I was like, why am I going to put my kid in daycare when I know I don't want them to be fed that candy, or I want them to have very specific food, and they don't allow me to bring raw milk to this place. Like, right, like there's these things where it's like it doesn't align for me to do that. So staying at home in the trenches all day long, doing it the way you want to do it, is kind of like the foundation you're setting up for your children. Because I can say, they're teenagers now, and it's paid off. Like, dental health, teeth-wise, I mean, getting over sickness-wise, like, they get sick, they have issues, but like, knock on wood, it's okay. It's like normal process. It's nothing too serious.
It's part of life.
Yeah, it's a part of life. And so I feel like I had a good chance to like set them up, with good foods.
So we met whenever you came, you were part of the panel at the perimenopause roundtable.
Yeah.
And my mind was just blown listening to all of your incredible advice. I was just so interested, you know, because it was like putting together a lot of pieces that I had learned, had been learning, but then kind of connecting the dots for me. I was really, really just so excited to be able to do this podcast because I felt like you had such a really good insight.
Okay.
Do you treat a lot of perimenopause women, or do you focus more on like infertility struggles, or do you see like all ages?
I see all of it, but honestly, I'm starting to see a lot more in the perimenopausal space. One, because that's kind of where I'm at, and you kind of tend to like attract what you're going through, I think, or thinking about. So I am seeing more of that, but I'm also just seeing it on the social media pages. Like more people are talking about it. More women want information. They want to understand what they're going through. They want more than just a quick visit at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
They have a lot of questions. So I think the work of Dr. Mary Claire Haber is kind of coming. She was the book that we talked about at the meeting. And so she's been very vocal. And I just think more and more people are talking about it. And so I am now seeing a little bit more of it.
I have to tell you, I took one of your tips because I drink a lot of coffee. And you said, don't start your morning with coffee.
Do not.
Like, that's just not good. And I was like, oh, okay.
Listening
to Kimlyn.
I think I said that and I saw you like deflate.
Oh, man, I'm doing it all wrong. But I felt so much better whenever I started my morning with a big old thing of water. Like it set off like a chain reaction to where I was making healthier choices. Like I started with water today. Like I'm making good choices,
So this is what I tell my clients. I tell them what I do is simple, and what I tell you to do is pretty simple. It's not necessarily easy.
Yeah.
Because our lifestyle is not modified for that type of focus.
It's true.
So sometimes just doing that, like you said, can just set off this chain reaction for the next best choice to be made.
It was nice. I can see how somebody would get a lot of benefit of having like a cheerleader that's, kind of setting things up for you. Like, this is the ideal goals, we can work towards that. It's a journey.
It's definitely
steps.
Yeah.
I say that too. It
Manageable
takes
steps.
time.
Yeah.
This is not one of those quick fixes things at all. So I like to set realistic expectations for my clients and say things like, getting pregnant doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it could for some people, but also getting well and dealing with and fixing with and reaching your health goals does not happen overnight. So it takes time.
Yeah. So if one of us were a new client reaching out to you, what is kind of your philosophy and approach on how to interact with and kind of guide and hold hands with someone through your
and
process?
it definitely is individual, right? It depends on where you're at, what your goals are. Most of the time, I have people, the first thing they do is set up a free phone consult with me. I have like a little 20-minute, just no cost, ask me your questions, and figure out if what I offer is a good fit for you.
Nothing's free anymore. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, I mean, no one's going to sign up for. They don't know no one knows what an NTP does, really. I mean,
It's a great way to like meet you.
Right. Like it's not the traditional dietitian thing, and you need to know how different that is. So I have a free 20-minute consult, and I just answer all your questions, and based on what your goals are and what you're dealing with, what your symptoms are, I kind of recommend where to start. Some people have a great knowledge of, like, they're familiar with Weston A. Price, and they already do a lot of things that I would recommend. So then I'm like, okay, well then we'll start here instead of at square one. So it just depends on where they're at.
Yeah.
But we can go as slow or as fast as somebody wants. But I definitely make sure everyone knows it's not a one and done usually consult. I offer things in packages because sometimes people know, hey, I do have the goal of getting pregnant, so I do want to do this testing or that testing. And then I set it up as a certain number of tests with a certain number of consultations, and then they can kind of say, okay, I'm all in for that, and they kind of know, like, this is
tailor their program.
I know I'm in this. I know I'm in this, and this is what I'm going to do. Instead of just like, I'll see you when I see you once or twice a year.
Sure.
And I'm like, that's fine too, but if you have the specific goal, then we offer this as well.
That's awesome. Sometimes you need that commitment.
Yeah, and everyone. Some people are there, and some people aren't ready to commit, but I find that most people do.
So what's the difference between, say, a dietitian and a functional nutrition therapist?
Yeah, good question.
Is that,
two different schools of education.
Dietitian's more like your food pyramid.
Yes. They go to school. They have a 4-year degree. It's it's definitely counting calories, measuring things, doing things by government standards of education.
One size fits all too.
Yeah, kind of like the birth control pill was for everything. The dietitian plan is going to be. I mean, now I know some great RDs who don't practice that way. They were trained that way, but they don't. They've kind of modified how they do things based on a more real food approach. So not all RDs are like that. It's just a completely different education. Okay. And they know things that I don't know, which is great. Like there's things they can do that I can't do that can really help people. I am functionally different in the way that I'm looking at digestion, gallbladder function, fatty acid level, blood sugar balances, like things that affect how you metabolically work with energy and nutrition. And maybe some of them do that too. Now, I don't know. The main difference is they are a 4-year degree, professional. I am a certified non-licensed professional. They're a licensed professional. So they can do insurance things and they can do things with insurance that I can't do. So just 2 different schools of thought.
It's good to know.
Yeah, they can do things I can't do, which is great, and I can do things they can't do, which is great. So, there's a lot of RDs that became NTPs as well, just to kind of add that layer so they can do both. But it's, 2 different educations.
Very cool. So if somebody were to have like certain foods that they can't have, like allergies and things like that, you would take that into consideration.
For sure.
And even more so for somebody who's like trying to like meet goals. Like, could it be food that is stopping?
Yeah. Because some allergy or even a sensitivity to a food is causing some level of inflammation in the gut. Okay, so everyone talks about reducing inflammation. Well, what is that? Where is that inflammation coming from? A lot of times, I say this a lot too, like, just because it's normal for you does not mean it's normal, or does not mean that it's healthy. Like, just because you go to the bathroom or have a bowel movement twice a week, and that's what you've done your whole life, does not mean that I like that, or that that's acceptable. Right, and like, oh, well, I never knew. So it's like sometimes just them understanding like what is a healthy digestive system look like is the first thing. But then inflammation in itself can be a food allergy, like you said, a food sensitivity, which is totally different and happens kind of on a cellular level. So I can test for that to figure out if that's happening. Where's your blood sugar? That's inflammation. Do you understand that first thing in the morning not having coffee with cream and sugar sets up your blood sugar roller coaster to like start off? So like them just understanding like that's an inflammatory response. How can I, mitigate that or bring that response down so that other things can work better? So it's just those. Inflammation can come from a lot of sources, right? Allergies being one of them.
But just inflammation in
solving
general.
the puzzle of where things are coming from for each individual.
Right. But I have found that blood sugar regulation is a big one. Just people knowing like how impactful that can be, especially for pregnancy or people infertility goals.
How do you recommend people monitor their blood sugar? Like, do you recommend people that are kind of curious to do finger sticks, or do you, say maybe try continuous glucose monitoring? Is that something that?
So I do recommend you get familiar with yourself. A lot of what I want to do is empower you to like tune into your own body. And some people can feel things, like they can feel like when my blood sugar's dropping, I feel hangry, that term hangry, or just like putting them in touch with what they're actually, that's what that means, just helps them learn their body. Now, if that then requires using a glucometer to test your sugar, I recommend doing that from time to time, just to get an idea of like, how is my coffee impacting my morning blood sugar? CGMs, continuous glucose monitors, are becoming more available.
Yeah, I just had a friend tell me that you don't even need a prescription anymore.
Yeah, they used to be prescription only. Now you can outright pay for one. I don't know how expensive they are now. I haven't done one in a while, but it's good if you can afford it to do like a 2-week to 4-week play with that.
So you can see how different.
So you can see how, like, you just put it in your arm, and an app on your phone will give you the reading, and then you can kind of see how over 24 hours your blood sugar is doing. So even like when you're sleeping, why is my blood sugar rising?
Yeah.
Right. So, or when I exercise, this actually causes my blood sugar to rise, because exercise can be a stress. And does it come down appropriately? Or does it come down too low, and then I'm hungry and hangry and need to eat something? So it really helps you get an idea of like certain stressors. Even being angry, like, can raise your blood sugar.
Wow.
Right, emotional stress. So like it's interesting in that way, because you're not always testing your blood sugar when you're angry.
Right.
So CGMs offer a way, an insight, yes. I don't recommend you have them forever, because people can get stuck on the number and like reaching this obsessive thing.
That makes sense.
I want you to learn to trust yourself. I want
really like
you
that.
to like be like, this is my intuition, I can trust it. So that's one of my goals, is like, you can feel, you can trust. Like, and I think after you have kids, that kind of happens for many women. You're like, I just know this isn't right, but I don't know why, right? And then you kind of have to learn how to like trust that instinct. And the same can happen with your food and how you feel. So
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I agree 100% that like being more in tune with what's happening is the goal.
Yeah.
But I am a scientist and I love data.
Love numbers.
So
I could
see myself being addicted to numbers, but I like the idea of it's not necessary.
Yeah, like you can do it for 2 to 4 weeks, get an idea of your favorite foods, how you respond to them, but then also tune in, and alongside that do a journal of like, this is how I felt, this is what my body was doing, this is the kind of bowel movement I had after I ate that day, like that.
Do you recommend journaling? Is that one of the tools that?
Yeah, I do, and it's really cool. Yeah, like a food diary. And on when clients work with me, I do have an online like client portal, and so they can just like snap a picture of their plate that I can look at, or they can enter every detail, or they can just like. I try to make it easy for people to be like, this is what I ate, or because people are so busy. And sometimes just taking the time to write it down doesn't work. So in the portal they have access to, they can just do, and I can give them feedback, and we can say, hey, this is more carbs than I'd like for you to have for breakfast. Can we add some protein here? So sometimes just taking a picture of your plate is good enough.
Yeah, I would love that accountability, And be like, don't look at this. This one. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't look at my coffee with creamer and sugar in it.
Hey, but if it's raw dairy cream,
I mean, it won't be for me.
Right? Oh yeah, because you're probably dairy free.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm alpha gal. So
yeah. So like, what type of creamer is it? And then we can talk about that. I don't like to take away people's everything either. I'm not a fan of like. I mean, I want to live in reality.
Sometimes it's easier to add in to I'm going to drink my electrolytes before my coffee.
Yeah, right. So, like, let's do baby step into this. I'm not a big fan of like.
Slash it all.
Yeah. My goal is to bring down your stress, and help you, feel better.
Healthy habits.
Yeah, unless it's something like alpha gal or celiac disease, where it's like, okay, we have to be a little bit more particular about something, and helping them see like where they could be missing hidden gluten or hidden sensitivities is something that we can work through too.
That's really great. So tell me, what about, what are you doing for the community? Are there any workshops
just
or
did the
classes?
perimenopause panel. So
that was so fun. And can we do more of that?
I would love to.
Because I'm so good at like, let's do a lot of people at once.
You're also part of the NWA functional medicine group also.
Yeah.
So I know
So I get to learn from a lot of those people. But I love to do
we
just
should do it again.
Q&A
We've had
stuff.
a lot of people reaching out asking if we would do that same round table one more time. They're like, I want it to be there. I imagine that we could set it up and do it again. I think there's so much information.
There's so much information, and then you could come back a second time because there's something you missed the first time. So, I mean, right now I'm actually taking a, I don't know if you know who Lily Nichols is.
Oh, yeah.
She's an RD.
Yes, I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, so she's excited. An RD. She's a registered dietitian.
But she does not follow the rules.
But she does not follow the rules.
She set her own rules.
Yes.
I don't either, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm taking her course right now.
Okay.
So it's a prenatal nutrition course.
Wonderful.
And so we're going, if you know Lily, she's like all about the research. She's like a research nerd. I'm like, I could never understand it the way she does. So I just learned from her. So I'm taking her course to be a specialist in prenatal nutrition. So my goal is to then do more
prenatal.
Yeah, like prenatal classes, prenatal nutrition stuff, and like
oh wow,
look at like how this stuff really impacts baby development, fetal development, mom's health, so that postpartum is better. You know, just all these things that build on that. I love prenatal. That's what got me into this. So I feel like it's a 2-for-1 deal. When you can do prenatal and you can help baby and mom.
Oh yeah, it's like a life setting them up for you know.
I mean, because the majority of what they're finding is how mom eats, you know, in utero, when baby's in utero, can impact their disease development down the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense.
Risk for diabetes, risk for ADD, ADHD, like all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody that I've ever know closely that I can offer advice to without, if they mention they have gestational diabetes, I always tell them to go and look up Lily Nichols. I'm like, she's got a lot of really good advice you won't hear anywhere else.
Oh, and it's totally research backed. It's 100% scientific. Like, it's not just her. It's her personal clinical experience with a lot of data and research. So it's solid.
Yeah. Fascinating. Well, I'm excited. Let us know when you finish. We would love to get that information out there.
Yeah, that's my goal, is to create classes, kind of like DIY classes, so you don't have to set up time with me. Like, I want you to be able to go through things and learn things on your own and not necessarily have to, you know. So that's down the road.
That'd be a good group
I'd love to
session.
invite you too. We're doing a new preconception, pregnancy, and postnatal.
Postpartum.
Like a little workshop.
Period. It's pretty much every other Sunday with Latara Davis. You know her? So she's hosting that, but that would be really good. And she brings food, so
She does. It's nice.
She probably brings high quality good food.
Yes. Oh my goodness. She made this. I'm gonna butcher it. I hope you're listening, Latara, but don't make fun of me. I want to say it was called guacacaca.
Hey.
It's a Venezuelan, I believe she said, like chimichurri, guacamole mixture.
Awesome.
Oh, it was amazing.
Bring that again.
Yeah, bring that again, please. It was so good. I told her, I was like, I am dreaming about your dip that you made. So good.
Yeah, well, I'd love that. I'd love that. Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us? A website or anything?
I mean, my website is Vibrant Goddess Nutrition. So you can go on that website and learn all more about what I do, the programs I offer, the testing that I do, and you can set up a free consult from there.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure to include that link.
Yeah.
Do you also have social media?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
I try to do TikTok. I'm not really, I don't know.
We don't know about
We're
TikTok.
learning.
I know anyway. It might be there. It might not be.
And I social is not my strong suit. I don't have time to like make reels all the time.
Understandably, especially while you're taking a class.
Yeah, taking a class, teenagers, life, mom, wife, all the things. So
It's okay.
I do have social media, but it's not like
super active.
super active.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get her in the flesh. That's the best
right.
way.
That's right. I like that's the best.
Well, thank you so much.
you.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.